I have with me Ethan Raff. He's the host of the Kill Stream. The Kill Stream, one of the most banned shows on this side of heaven, and especially on the internet. And I've been on Ethan show a number of times, and with Hake and other guests with him as well. And so it's really an honor. Ethan, it's an honor to have you on, man.
Well, it's an honor to be here, and thank you. Can you hear me? Do I sound okay?
Oh, yeah, loud and clear.
Okay, good. Just making sure. I usually have some type of tech issue, but thank you for having me, man. I've always wanted to come on your show, and like you said, you've been on my show more than once,
Yeah,
two or three times, I guess.
yeah.
Including one in the studio there in Los Angeles.
I know.
One of my favorite episodes, actually. So thank you for that. Thank you for having me today.
Right on. Happy White History Month.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Happy History Month to you as well.
Yeah. I remember being on your show with Hake, and I think that was about 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And
I think that's when you debuted it, or it was right around that time, right? For
Yeah.
White History Month. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's like when you came up with it. Yeah.
What the? So I know that you want to talk about the situation you're dealing with your wife or ex-wife or something. I don't know all the details at all. But this is a subject matter you want to talk about, right? Concerning what's happening with you.
Well, I mean, it was pitched to me. By the way, they're saying the audio. I think the audio is okay on Rumble. Okay, just let me know if the audio cuts out. I did test this several times, but
Yeah, Nick
that
is,
wasn't necessary.
Nick is
Yeah,
telling me that the audio is good now.
Okay, it's
Okay.
good now. I don't know what happened, but yeah, well, it wasn't really my idea necessarily to talk about that stuff, but it was pitched to me, I guess, to talk about some of my family situation, I guess you could say, with my son and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
So yeah.
And so, and you only bring up what you want to bring up, don't, because it's not good to put your personal business out there anyway. People are so evil; they'll try to hurt you with it. But and so you're going through a divorce. If I'm right about this, if not, correct me. You're going through a divorce, and now you're fighting for your son.
Well, it's kind of complicated, Jesse. I'm actually not going through a divorce, at least not yet, and hopefully not ever. But I am separated from my wife. But I have a son. I have a daughter with my wife, but I have a son who I'm fighting to see, who actually lives in California, that I have with another woman. I guess you could say that I'm a bit of a slut maker myself.
Slut
Jesse.
maker.
And so that's been a difficult situation, I guess, dealing with that in the public eye and kind of
Yeah, and dealing with it. How is it difficult?
Well, for one, her family, the mother of my son, basically attack me daily on Twitter and, put out all these leaks and try to make it a public spectacle because I'm a public figure like you and I do a show every day. And so it is a little bit of a wild situation that, a lot of men go through this type of thing, right? Fighting to see their son. And I know this is something you've talked about plenty of times, but it's a little bit unique for me because it's kind of like online tabloid fodder, basically. Me get, whether I get to see my son or not,
Right.
and they're putting these leaks out, and interviews here, and people making up stuff here. I won't say the word I was going to use. I try to be respectful on your show, but it's a little bit of a wild situation that I don't think too many people actually have to deal with in that way, at least the public nature of it.
So this woman doesn't want you to see your son. Why? Since you are the father of the son, I guess. Why is it that she doesn't just do the right thing? Because the fight is not between. It's not with your child. It's just something going on between the two of you, and the child need both parents right now, especially the father. Why doesn't she just let you see your son, but she could disagree with you, or you could disagree with her, but love the son enough so that he can have both parents?
Well, there's a lot of different factors, and without speaking for her directly or anybody directly, because there's courts involved and all that.
Oh, okay.
So I'll be careful with that a little bit. But basically, her and her family. I do have a little bit of an agreement to get to see him here and there. I have to fly out to California, but basically, they don't want me in his life, and have said that publicly. So I don't think that's. I don't think that's breaking any order or anything like that. So they've pretty much done what they can to keep me out of my son's life, and that includes public attacks, pretty much daily, I would say. I would imagine. I can't see right now, but I would imagine they're probably publicly attacking me right now during this interview. But yeah, I mean, I would agree with you that a child needs both parents, and especially a father. So but not everybody feels that way.
Why fight with him? Why not just say, okay, you can have him. I'm going on my way, because it was done out of wedlock, and I made a child out of wedlock as well, and the same kind of thing happened. And right. I for a minute, I fought for him because I didn't know any better at the time, but I finally let go. Okay, this is my punishment for making a baby out of wedlock. It's not anyone else's fault but mine. Yes, it's her fault for getting pregnant out of wedlock too, but she had to deal with that, right? So I realized it was my fault for making a baby out of wedlock. So I stopped fighting with the devil, just let it go. And when I gave it up, he came back to me. But as long as I was fighting for it, the mother was doing all she can to keep him away. But when I said, okay, I understand, I have to take the pain for being wrong, and I was able to overcome it, but my son came back once I gave up. Why fight with the devil?
Well, that's a good question. And, I wrestled with whether to even pursue this because, of course, I knew that these people didn't want me in his life in the first place. And so I struggled with that. And you may or may not like this answer, but my mother passed away a couple of years ago. And I just thought that, and maybe this is a problem, I don't know. Maybe this is a woman way of thinking, but I just thought that, giving up on my son, my own flesh and blood, that it was worth the fight to engage in that. Now there have been,
that is beta.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit beta, I guess.
Yeah, it is.
But I just felt like, I feel like a lot of fathers feel like that, though, Jesse, right?
Like I said, before I knew better, before I understood, I felt the same way about my son. And so I fought for him like that. And he lived with me for a while. He was out here in L.A. living with me, and she tricked me. And I knew she was lying, but she was like, let him come for the summer. I promise you I sent him back. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. And so she kept begging and begging. She said, I promise, because she got married to another man, right? And I'm thinking that they're getting on with their family and I can have my son. I promise you I'll let him come back. And I believed the lie. And when I believed the lie, just as Adam did with Eve, it was a big mistake. And she kept my son. She got married. She said she had changed his last name to her husband's last name, but that wasn't true. We found out later. But I'm telling you, man, because women who keep children, and I've said this over and over again over the years, women who keep children from their fathers are evil women, and they have no love. And they will destroy your child knowing that you want your child because they hate you. They'll destroy your child trying to hurt you. And so you're causing more damage by fighting for him than you would if you didn't fight for him, because she's going to destroy him anyway. And if you let go, God will cause you're no longer fighting with the devil, and just work on your life, overcoming the fallen state. And God will bring your child back to you. Out of nowhere, it will happen. And you'll be ready for him.
Well, of course, I'm still involved in all this. I do, it's been such a battle, really, just a daily thing. And even to get to see him, I have to travel out to California.
You there?
And no, I'm not in California. I have to fly out, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a daily battle on every little thing. And I had some advice from some people I respected who said, just what you told me, just let it go. Right. And catch up with him later, and he'll find you later when he's grown. And these are people I really, really respected, and legends in the same stuff that we do, actually. And I took the opposite. I took the opposite path.
My grandmother used to tell me all the time that a hard head make a soft ass.
Well, I was a bit hard headed, and I guess I also had it in my head that eventually maybe there could be some type of let's just do what's right for my son, basically.
But that's not the right. You're not doing what's right, and I hope you're realizing that now. It's not like you are, but you're losing your money because the courts are not on the men's side. Women can just make up lies, and I don't know if these women are doing it or not, because I don't know them, but they'll make up lies. They'll say you're abusive. They'll just make up stuff, and they'll go into the court, and they'll get these false tears. And because men are hated today, the courts are not on your side. So, and then the lawyer will take advantage of you too, because they're just making money. They don't really care about the situation, and they're just making money. They'll keep you going and going until they drain you. And then the courts will have you paying for everything, counsel for the child, and all kinds of stuff.
Well, I was going to say I have to pay to for the visitation and stuff like that. And
really,
it's not just plane tickets and stuff like that out there. And like you said, child support, of course. And it gets to be huge. And then with my situation, certain members, I guess, associated. Her family basically, and her, keep me tied up in court all the time, with lawyer fees and all that. And it's lawfare basically. It's basically trying to drain all the money out of your accounts.
Right. That's right.
Through legal means, and it works. I mean, because if you show up to these trials, and I have before, trying to represent yourself, you're gonna get screwed over.
They're gonna screw you with a lawyer, and they're gonna screw you without a lawyer.
That's right. You're gonna get screwed either way. Yes, that's true. And I'll say this: I love my son, and getting to see him, and getting to visit with him, and getting to meet him, especially that first time, definitely one of the highlights of my life. But
I know what you mean by that. Fathers love their children.
Sure.
And when they leave, they don't leave the children, they leave the woman, the mother of the children. But the mother is not going to tell them that. The mother would never tell the child, you know what, your father loved you. And when he left, it's because we didn't get along. It's not because of you. And if she had love, if she loved that child, she would let the child or children see their fathers, and the fight just between the two of them, adults, but not them. But they don't love the children. Women don't have love. They only have hate, because Satan is the woman's god. They only have hate. They don't have love. The God above is the man's God, and the God below is the woman's God. And so they don't have love. And if you love your son, you would let him go. You would let him go, because that's what love is. Love is not trying to force things to happen. Love, real love, which is dispassionate love. That emotional stuff is hate. It comes from the woman. It's the nature of the woman. Anyone that feels that emotional stuff, that's hate. And that's what seems to be driving you in this situation, that emotion that you're calling love, but that's not love. Emotions are evil, and they take your life. They don't add to your life. That's why we have to overcome emotions, and we have to be logical. And so I would recommend you let him go and just wish him well, and be logical about this situation rather than emotional, and let God's will be done. He'll take care of you.
Well, the problem with that, Jesse, is that in the state of California, you can't just do that. Basically, you have to they have to be adopted by somebody else. There has to be a marriage and stuff like that.
You can't just do what?
You can't just stop paying child support, or say you can't give away your parental rights unless your kid's adopted by somebody else, basically.
Well, you don't have to give away parental right. You don't have to do all that, but just stop fighting with her. That's all. Okay, you can have him. Bye.
Yeah, but I'm saying you can't actually do that in California unless she was to marry somebody else and then they adopted him. Then you can do it.
Well, just pay the child support, but don't fight with the devil.
Yeah. Now you could do that. Yeah, I could just pay the child support.
Yeah, it's cheaper. It's cheaper.
Yeah, it would be cheaper, but it's well, okay, you're still paying this big child support every month, and then what? Just not go see him still? I mean,
right.
Is that what you think?
Uh-huh.
You really think that's a better answer?
I promise you it is, because as long as this woman know, and not just this woman, because I don't know those women at all.
Sure.
But as long as women know that men Whatever the man loves, that's what they'll use against you to hurt you. And so as long as you're trying, it's never going to get better. But when you give up, it will get better. And so I would do what you want, but I would just pay the child support, but live my life, work on me so you can overcome those emotions. Because if you were not emotional about it, you would never ended up in this situation. You wouldn't have been fighting with her from the beginning. It'd already be over. But I would just let go, because men, and I went through it, men make a big mistake fighting these women over a child, because the child is being destroyed anyway with her anger. He's already being destroyed, and she doesn't care about that. And if her mother or any mother get involved with it, it's over. It's over, because the woman is being controlled by her mother, and it's just over. You're fighting a losing battle. And you're going to end up just broke, and they don't care about that.
No, they don't. Matter of fact, that's what they'd like to see.
Yeah.
You know, I've thought about it, and I know you talk about forgive your mother a lot, and of course my mother's dead. She passed away, but she died actually, I guess it was 11 days before my son was born.
Wow. Can you hold on for me?
Sure.
Let me take a quick break. I got to take a quick break. 888-77-53-773. 888-77 Jesse. Back in a moment. Want to go quickly back to my amazing guest, Ethan Raff, the host of the Kill Stream. So, Ethan, your mother expired, you say a couple years ago?
Yeah, it was, let's see, it's 2023 now. Yeah, so 2021, May 16th. And then my son was born 11 days later. And my mother basically had a brain injury, and so it was like a 2 or 3 month ordeal with her in the hospital. And we thought maybe she was going to pull out of it, and then she didn't. And basically kind of the most emotional thing in my life to kind of go through every day, and sitting by her hospital bed and doing this and that. And so I do think that part of my decision was kind of tied up in my mother's death, really.
What? Did you forgive?
Yeah.
Did you forgive her before she expired?
I forgive my mother for sure.
You told her?
Yes, I did actually.
What'd you say to her?
I said, well, first off, I asked her to forgive me.
Forgive you for what?
Well, I've fallen short in my life, Jesse, here and there.
But there was nothing for her to forgive you for, because she recreated you in her image. Everything you did was because of her image, not because of you. And so she needed to apologize for that. Did you forgive her for turning you away from your father and recreating you in her image?
Well, I mean, I didn't not necessarily that exact phrase, no.
And why not?
But, well, I mean, I didn't know to, I guess. Right?
An emotional man is a female. He has the nature of his mother. Because men are logical, they're not emotional. That's why when you marry or when you work with women, you're supposed to bring them out of the hell that they're in, not go into their hell. And so your mother, the reason that you're emotional, because you do resent her, you become like what you resent. You took on her identity. That's why God said that we must be born of the Father. And all children have to return to their father so they can overcome that emotional state of being. It's not normal. And so what did you say to her when you went to her and forgave her?
Well, I just said that I forgive you for all the fights that we had, basically, and I hope you forgive me. She could still communicate a little bit with me here and there. And
so Mama,
I don't know,
she did. She's
dead, yeah.
So how she communicate with you?
She did. But she wasn't dead. Like, she was like 3 months in the hospital.
Oh, she could communicate then. I got you.
Yeah. So she was in and out of coma and stuff and shit like that. So like, it wasn't like she just died. It was like a 3 month ordeal of me at the hospital every day, and maybe she's gonna live, maybe she's not, and she can talk a little bit maybe today or communicate some today, and she can't the next. You know what I mean? So it was like one of those situations. It wasn't just I rushed to the hospital and she died.
I got you. Did you forgive your father? So once you forgave, you apologized for resenting her because she couldn't help herself. that nature caused her to screw you up as well. When you forgave her, did you feel a little better about it?
I felt better about some of the interactions that we had because she could still communicate. And it did actually, of course, I was sad that my mother died. I still am, but I do feel like a lot of those communications were kind of almost cleansing, really.
Yeah.
And it did kind of free me. But it didn't free me from this other situation. I feel like maybe I would have not actually fought with these people over my son because I already knew how that was going to go. If it wasn't like in my mind, it was almost tied up with my mom. Too,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
Because the mindset is that mindset of the woman. Because when you resent her, you become subject to her. You become subject to what you hate, right?
But also, it was like tied up in her death too, though. You know what I mean? Like, and he's born right after, and in my mind, I'm thinking, and I didn't, I waited for I don't know, 8-9 months before I pursued all this. And in my mind, I was thinking, I actually had this thought that really drove me over the edge to go ahead with it was my mom wouldn't want me to give up on my son, basically.
What?
Yeah, literally. And I know that that's like anti-existently. I know that that's like the exact opposite of what you would have told me to do. Probably.
Yeah, you can't live for mama. What the?
But it was like giving up on your family too. You know what I mean? I don't know. In my mind, it was like if I, don't pursue this, or if I'm not in his life, basically I've given up on my own flesh and blood, and my mom wouldn't want that, and other people wouldn't want that in my family. But you know what? It's funny. I talked to my uncle at the time, and he said, "You're wasting your time."
I rest my case.
He said, "Don't pursue this." He said, I won't name who he named, but he said, I loaned this guy money, and he spent all this money, and he gets 2 hours of visitation a month or 4 hours, and he has to fly into another state. Literally the exact same thing that happened to me.
Yeah.
He told me what was going to happen, and he said, you're going to waste all this money, you're going to spend all this money, and you're going to get basically nothing out of it. Small relationship with your son, and it's going to be torture.
Yeah.
And he said, don't do it.
This is why a man should never, ever listen to a woman. Every time the man listens to the woman, he suffers. That's what happened with Adam and Eve. Adam listened to the woman, and the woman became his God. And the woman listened to the devil, and the devil became her God. Men should lead the way, not follow. A woman was created to lead. To follow, not to lead. And every time you listen to the woman, Ethan, you will suffer.
Yeah, well, come to find out, my uncle was absolutely correct. And I had several other people, too, advised me not to pursue it. And, I just had it in my head that I needed to do this, and I needed to pursue this. And, of course, I still love my son. I don't want that.
Right. You're going to love him. You're going to love him, but you're going to stop the fight, man. Stop fighting with the devil. You should never fight with the devil in your imagination, and you should never fight with the devil inside of other people. Never fight with the devil, man.
Yeah, looking back, I can't say that it was the smartest decision.
Right.
Quite honest. Like I said, there's still some good in there. I love seeing my son when I get to see him, but it's not that often, quite frankly. Right. You can imagine the type of environment, the type of things said about me by his other family, etc. And honestly, when I think about it logically, it does seem to have been a waste of time and resources.
I promise you, it's a waste of time. You'll fight with the devil, and they will drain you and try to destroy you. They have no love. What when you went to your father and forgave him for not protecting you from your mother, what did he say?
Well, I never did that.
Why not?
Because my father's dead too. Actually, He dead. He dead. He ain't black though, but he's dead.
He white.
Yeah, he white. Nah, he passed away, and we just never had a conversation like that.
So,
Really.
did you forgive him, even though you couldn't go to the grave? I mean, couldn't talk to him. You did. Did you forgive him for not protecting you from your mother?
I did forgive my father after he passed.
Yeah.
We'd had a rocky relationship, I guess you could say. I do feel a little bit cheated on that because I didn't have that. I had those moments with my mother when I was able to communicate with her and talk to her some, as she was dying, basically, over the course of a few months. But I never had that with my father. He just passed away suddenly, and I didn't really get to have those types of conversations and even think to do that, really.
Why were you close? You were not close to him growing up?
No, we were fairly close, I would say, but my parents got divorced when I was about 11.
Oh.
Which is, a common theme, I guess.
Yeah. And what you might not realize is that when mothers recreate the children in her image by imposing her anger, her will on them and controlling them, she recreates them. And so the kids start to identify with the mother. And when they identify with the mother, they see the father the way the mother see the father. But inwardly, they're yearning for their father. They want their father. But because the mother pretends to be the victim when she is the victimizer, the kids identify with her and they become close. So they treat the father the way that the mother treat the father. So the father, like, you know what? I ain't dealing with this. You're just like your mama. Were you like your mama in the way you saw your father?
I would say yes.
Yeah, that's bad, man. Your mother, and exactly what your mother did to you is what your son mother is doing to him right now. She's recreated him in her image and turning him against you, and he's going to see you the way she sees you, but he's still going to be yearning for the father. That void, that emptiness that nothing else can fulfill is going to be a yearning for you. Do what you want, of course, but I highly recommend you forgive your mother and your father. But do you see what I mean now about how the mothers create the children in their image?
Yeah, I do, and I mean, I have some evidence of it too with this situation. They've done stuff like dress them up in like trolling material, like people troll me online and stuff like that, just to try to mess with my head.
They're going to destroy your son, man. Either way, they're going to destroy him. They're already doing it. There's nothing you can do at this point. I highly recommend you let go and then work on you. You need to overcome your mother. You need to return to the father by forgiving him. It sounds like you're working on that. And I highly recommend that you do this my silent prayer, www.silentprayer.video, so that you've been one with your thoughts, with the thoughts. And all thoughts are all lies all the time about anything, except for lower level thoughts, practical thoughts, right? But there's a consciousness and awareness that's come from God that we should live by. But those thoughts that have been driving you to do this stuff, it's the way a woman think. It's not the way men think. Men are logical, women are illogical. So I highly recommend you let this go, let them have them, and then don't argue with them anymore, don't fight with them, don't respond to them at all. Work on you, do the silent prayer, come out, and God will bring you out of those thoughts so you can live in the present rather than the past or the future, which doesn't exist anyway, and he would take care of your son. If it meant for you to have him back, he'll be back. You won't have to think about it. But you got to work on you. Did you say that? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, that makes perfect sense. And, looking back, I thought I was doing the right thing, I'm sure you've talked to a lot of men like this.
Yeah. Every man has the same problem.
Yeah, it's like, I think I'm doing the right thing. I'm trying to fight for my son. I'm trying to be in his life. And you do feel that way. And, you find out the hard way that you can't really win in this situation.
Oh, you fighting evil.
Yeah, I mean, you can't win.
Yeah.
And they have all the advantages. They have all the resources. They have the courts on their side.
Yeah.
They have all their people online to attack me, basically, over my son and use him as a weapon against me. online. I mean, that's part of this too.
Well, let it go, man. Don't fight with the devil. People's hearts are wicked, and and evil people. They have fear. Every person with anger has an evil heart, and God said that anyone that has anger is a murderer, right? And so these people are unhappy, and they're trying to murder you. They want to bring pain to you so they can feel better, which is a false feeling, but they have a false sense of life. But angry people try to hurt others so they can feel better. Why don't you ignore them? Don't go into their evil world and just live your life. I would just start fighting with them, and then they'll turn on each other, and they'll start fighting with each other because the devil got to fight with somebody. But I would recommend you not pay attention to the devil. It's pure evil.
Well, I won't say on air necessarily what I'll do, I guess, but
don't do it.
Yeah, I was going to say, but I have thought about that a lot, and it's hard to do, because I do love my son.
But
it's a losing battle. Yeah,
yes.
Go ahead.
If you love him, Ethan, you will let him go. When you have real love, not that mama's love, that emotional crap, that feel like love, but it's not love, it's hate. Love, there is no pain in love. The love that comes from the Father, and God said, one day I'll turn the children back to the fathers and the fathers back to the children. He does that when you forgive your father for not protecting you from your mother and forgive your mother, right? And in that kind of love, logical love, there is no pain. There's no control, and you can't be controlled, and you never want to control anyone else. There is no loss, nothing. You'll just be free. So I highly recommend you stop paying attention to the evil people and just work on you. I got to ask, because of time, your mother died 3 years ago?
Well, it was 2 years ago.
2 years ago, and you're still feeling the pain of it?
Yeah.
What the?
Well,
what a beta! Why'd you let it go?
You want me to lie? You want me to lie?
No, but what good is it doing you to be feeling that now? She gone. She dead. Why are you feeling that now?
Well, I miss seeing my mom. I guess,
Why would you let her go, man, and live your life?
Well, I think that there's a lot of truth to that. Actually, I think that a lot of the struggles I've had the last couple of years was not being able to let that go. Really,
it's all in your. It's not real. It's just fake thoughts, false thoughts, and false emotion. And emotion will destroy you. Let it. Your mama's dead. May her soul rest in peace, and you move on with your life. It's not doing you. What good is it doing you to keep holding on to that?
It doesn't do me any good. Matter of fact, it usually does me very bad.
And what good is it doing her that you feeling that way?
It doesn't do her any good either. I'm sure she would not want me to feel that way.
And so the purpose of holding on to that crap is what?
There is no real purpose, I guess, other than to screw myself over and have bad thoughts in my head.
Absolutely. Let it go, man, and live your life. You are your world. The kingdom of heaven is within. You want to live from within. And everything you are, everything you want, everything you ever need, life itself is inside of you. You want to stop living from the outside and live from within, and you will have perfect peace right here on earth, and all your needs will be met. But you got to let all that crap go. That's how women think and feel. A man should not be emotional.
So you didn't, when your parents passed away, you just, got over it immediately? Or
yeah.
How did you...
I was like, what the? She did.
He did not. No, wait a minute. He did not. Come on now.
I probably, the only problem I had was when my grandmother expired. I felt what you were feeling, but I was a beta. I didn't know it better then. But then once I overcame my mother by forgiving her, and God renewed my mind, which is because anyone that's emotional has the mindset of a woman, right? And so when my parents died, and I had a tight relationship with them before they expired, but when they were dead, they were just dead because I didn't have any anger toward them, so I had no guilt, no emotion, and I appreciated the time that I had with them. So when they were dead, I'm fine.
Yeah, I think it was just, by the way, I hear something.
You know
I
what?
don't
The
if that's
music is on. Ethan.
I was gonna say. I hear something. I was like,
So, Ethan, give out your website or whatever you want to give out.
Oh, we're on Rumble. I know you're on Rumble too, but
Yes.
The Ralph Retort on Rumble, Killstream.live. I appreciate you having me on the show.
And
I
if
don't
you want-
normally talk about this type of stuff, but I appreciate you having me here and talking about it.
And if you want to talk any more about what to do with this stuff, you can give me a call or we'll have you back or whatever.
Yeah, I'd like that. I'd like that a lot, Jesse.
Okay,
Thank
but
you,
let
man.
it go, man. Let it go. Never force anything. Let life happen easily. Life will happen on its own.
I appreciate that, Jesse.
All right,
Thank
buddy.
you for having me on, man. It's an honor to be on your show.
Same to have you, man. It's an honor to have you. Thank you.
Thank
The
you.
Hake Report is coming up now, folks. The Hake, H-A-K-E report.